We're both front-end engineers from Spotahome, and we're here to talk to you a bit about organizing components in React. So, like I said, we come from Spotahome. So what is Spotahome? Spotahome is a prop tech company that focuses on mid to long-term lets. They aim to reinvent the real estate rental experience, and we aim to do that through our online booking platform. We have a screenshot of this over here. And now, what differentiates us from other competitors on the real estate market? As you know, we have Airbnb, we have Rightmove, Zoopla, and the rest of them. Well, we have home checkers, basically. So these home checkers are sent out to every property that's listed on our platform to basically do an inspection. They're able to make sure that what you see is actually authentic and real. So what you see is what you get. Spotahome operates in several cities across Europe, including London, Madrid, Dublin, Paris, Lisbon, and many more. Let's talk about isolating artifacts. Now, for this section, we're going to start off with a brief history of the story of Ford. So as some of you know, when Ford first started, they were building cars one at a time. So what this means is Ford and his team of mechanics had to put the cars together, put the tires, the chassis, the wheels, everything one at a time for each car that they were producing. And this was a problem because they weren't able to produce enough cars fast enough. And even when the cars were ready, they were at a very high price to cover the cost of the mechanics. So then what did they do? Well, they smashed the car into smithereens. Well, not exactly, but they divided the manufacturing process into smaller individual parts. And in doing so, by mass producing these different parts, they were able to create an assembly line where they could then create the cars just as fast as they were producing the parts. Now, bringing that over to the web development side. Initially, web applications were created all in one HTML file, where you have your HTML code, you have your CSS for styling, and your JavaScript functions. And everything was created to tailor specifically to your web page. But then we've grown from that, and now we've realized the better approach is to split your web pages into components. Now, what are the benefits of these? These allow for easier maintenance for your components, and it allows them to be reusable. So let's talk about collecting components. As we know here, I mean, this is time to React, so I assume everyone here is familiar with React. We have other frameworks and JavaScript libraries out there like jQuery, Angular, Vue, and whatnot. Now, these provide a way that you can create components. And when you create these components, you can collect them into what we call a component library or UI library. So let's talk about some benefits of having this collection in a UI library. This allows for quicker development of your web pages, because now you no longer have to create them from scratch. You can literally just grab them from where they are, input them into your project, and you're good to go. Also, you can maintain a collection of these reusable components, manage them, make sure they always fit for purpose. Some further benefits also, you can import and apply updates across multiple projects from your source, from your component library, as illustrated in the diagram here. And it allows for more efficient collaboration between designers and developers, because when designers are aware of what components already exist, whenever they have amends, fixes, or updates to make, they have a base to start off of. And also, the developers, being aware of whatever functionality is there, allows for a more effective communication to happen between both parties. Now, there's several tools that we can use for collecting these components and showcasing them, such as Storybook, Style Guidance, Materials UI, and Polymer for Web Components by Google. However, today, we want to talk to you about one specific tool, and that is Bit.dev. What's Bit.dev? Bit.dev provides a way to collaborate, share, discover, and use components across several projects. It turns your components and APIs into reusable building parts. It provides a mechanism by which you can fully isolate your components and dependencies and it applies changes for any projects and keeps them in sync. So as we can see from this little GIF that's going on here, what's happening is you have your UI library right at the beginning, at the left side. So you have your button, which is then exported into the Bit.dev repository. And from there, you're able to then import that into all your other projects. What Bit.dev allows you to do is it allows you to update these components from within any project that you import them into, send them back into the repository, and notifies your other projects that there's a new update to receive, including your UI library. So that's how that works. Bit.dev allows you to create collections on any server. So that could be on NPM, Yarn, or Bit.dev itself. In fact, Bit.dev has a community hub where developers from all over the world have created components that they can share for any developer to use from wherever they are, and you can contribute as well and create your own private collection. So, moving on, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Caique, who's going to do a little demonstration of how Bit.dev works. Caique.
So thank you very much, Kunmi. And I'm also working in Spotahome as a web developer, front-end development. And we are not here, just to be clear, we are not here to sell Bit. We are not gonna earn a referral code. We are just present an approach that Bit solved or is getting better over the time. So Bit is not a complete full package because it's not ready. There is a bunch of problems, but we feel that the approach that they took to organize the components itself, then the whole project and the whole structure, as we have multiple front ends, the micro front ends approach, or you have multiple applications or websites to take care of. Sometimes we'll have to create some components to be shared of all of them. It's quite hard to manage this. So here we are gonna show you how Bit kind of helped with this problem. So just to exemplify, I'm gonna show what we have. Is not the most updated version of our UI library at Spotahome, but we kind of use an approach that is one mono repo that contains all the components inside, and all the components, they have stories, and we use storybooks and the tests and everything, but it's kind of messy. It's kind of messy sometimes, because when you look at this, you say, okay, I have a label item component, I have a version, a story of this label item that is free cancellation, so I can actually see what's the difference between. I can see the implementation, I can see all the properties that this component can allow me to change and customize and all the stuff. But there's some part of this that it has to be, is kind of confused over the things, how to collaborate and make people be aware of this. It kind of helps, but it could be better. So we are kind of investigating ways to solve this problem and how to get closer to the UI team, how to have the flow very clear, and all the stages of the development process could be more clear for everyone. And with this approach, we kind of thought, oh, maybe there is something that can split, and I don't have to import a whole UI library or update my UI library with a major change in an application that I don't know actually what changed, but it was just a little button. So what Bit did is kind of, oh, let's put everything inside one place. Let's show everyone Let's be easy to know how to implement, how to create stories, how to create customizable components, and isolated one. Because sometimes people is a little confused about how to manage like reusable components. Because they create components, but actually the CSS or the SAS or the style component use some kind of properties that it contains on that project, or they are based on, for example, foot size as brem, for example, instead of pixels. And this is not really isolated, because when you use this component inside other application and the font size, the root font size is not the same, your component is going to look like completely different. So at my Bit dashboard, I have a button that I create this morning. It's just a simple button that it takes some children inside, and this is computer React. There is some properties here that I can see. If I had some tests, I could see here on the right. I can create multiple stories, so I can create another version here. And he's gonna show me, oh, okay, so I can just change here to something like this. Sorry, I'm typing with just one hand. That's quite hard. And it's gonna show on the other side. I can save it. It's gonna generate a preview there. I can see the whole code, and this is a computer independent repo. So you can see all the files that compose that component. You can actually change, you can open the dependencies inside the Bit dashboard, and you can navigate through them. You can see all the versions and whatever. You can, there's two ways to use this component. You can use your Webpack to actually compile this component and in runtime, or you can use the compiled version. But if you use the compiled version and you are already using React, you are gonna have the React code 2 times in your code. You can have peer dependencies, and you can have basically everything. I'm just gonna show you guys that Bit is not only for your UI library. Maybe people around the world, they already create some UI libraries that is quite useful and you want to use in your projects. And there is no need to import the whole library inside your project. You can import just the piece that you want. For example, in primary React, we have this guy that is the tooltip, and you can actually use this component inside your component, but this tooltip is actually a component inside the whole primary React UI library. So it kind of split all the UI libraries into micro repos that you can use independent and completely isolated. You can also see the codes and dependencies. And the fun part about Bit is not about only components. It's about everything that you can imagine. For example, if you search for colors, we can actually see, just a sec. We can actually see variable colors, component colors is that one. This is pretty fun because this is not actually a component. If you look at the code, you can see that it's just an object that contains data. For example, your whole branch works around the green and has some default greens that you want to use across all your projects, all your applications. You can actually have a micro repo that just contains an object containing the values of the colors This is not only for variables, this is for everything. You have a specific hook that you use across multiple micro frontends, or you use it across multiple projects. You can create a micro repo containing this hook and just import and use in your code. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna code a little bit. Okay, I create a little boilerplate here. It's called the Spotahome Bit. It's just a simple project. I just create a React app from the scratch, mess with a little bit, put some icons, and yeah, basically that's it. The end result is kinda ugly. It's just that, Spotahome, and this is gonna be available for you guys after the meetup. So I don't know what we are gonna share the links, but from there we can go to the slide presentation that Kunmi just did. The repo for this project that I'm gonna show now, and the repo for the other one that's gonna come. So we can see some stuff here. We can see some patterns. Maybe we can reuse this and in multiple projects that we may want, or we just want to share with the UI team. We can create, we can use Bit to kind of push the common components to the UI library, to the dashboard, and make available for everyone to see. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna create some new thing. I don't know if everyone can see my screen there. Oh, gosh.
Font size is a little small though.
Yeah. Let me see if I can manage this. Yeah.
That should be okay.
Okay. So first of all, generally when you want to start to use Bit, you have to install the CLI. It's very basically, that is on the get start of the page. So you just get a Bit init. I already did this, and if I type this again, it's gonna receive an error, and we don't want that. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna add instead of this weird links here, we are gonna add some buttons instead, because on my repo, let's confirm that, I have this button. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the yarn, just because we don't like npm, and I'm gonna install on my project. Yeah, it's installed. So if I go to the package.json, I can see it. Hopefully. Not this one, the other one. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we can use this button already. If I go to my page, is my home page, I can go to the top, and I already left some comments to not have or mess with anything here. So instead of those links, I'm gonna use that button, and I already am prepared for that as well. So it's just copy and paste presentation. I'm sorry guys if you are expecting more stuff. So yeah. Copy and paste. Yeah, everyone is happy now. Okay. So if you go back to this, we are gonna have the button. It is a micro repo. There is nothing there. There is no project itself. It's just an export of a component that was previously made. So this component is kind of weird. He shows me the pointer cursor, but is not has a different behavior. We can actually change the behavior inside that project. This was not implemented on this project, but we can change it without going to other project, and everyone else can have the new version. So if we go back to here and we kind of do bit import, you see that I'm looking here, so I have everything typed. I'm just copy and paste again. Caique Sousa dot components dash button. What I'm doing here, I'm grabbing from Bit platform and import the source code to my project. So when I do that, you guys are gonna see that he's gonna take a folder. Let me collapse this. He's gonna create a folder called components with button. So inside these files, I have the actual implementation that was on my repo. So in here, I can actually change things and send to my UI library, that in this case is Bit dashboard, and everyone can use the new version. So what I'm gonna create, I'm gonna uncomment this behavior of hover and save it. And let's see, bit tag all, just because I don't want to type everything. Okay, so he tagged in the new version, and I can actually do a bit export all. Oh, bit export components dot slash button. Yeah, and it was not found. Yeah, because I didn't look my copy here. So export eject. Let me see. Export menus eject. This is just. Oh, actually, I haven't shown you guys another thing, that Bit controls everything that was important. And when you change a file, you can actually see all the files that was changed, but it's okay, we can get back to this later. So you can see that we already received the new version. He removed my components folder from the root of my project, so I can not see anymore the new version. And when I get here, I hopefully is gonna take the new version. Maybe it's not working because I changed probably the wrong file. Oh, that's really nice. Let's do it again. Okay, components. Oh, that's actually here. Maybe it's the same color. Oh. And you can see that I prepared very much for this presentation, and I had like 4 hours to do everything. So yeah, you can guys, yeah, after that I can give you my PayPal account if you clap me a lot, so we can talk a little bit more, okay? Okay, so this guy received the new version. And I actually have another color. Huh. Interesting. Okay, I'm not gonna push anything more because I have to see what is wrong with this, but it actually worked. You have to see. There is another thing that I'm gonna show, and this is probably gonna work. I think that BT is not ready for production, and there is a lot of errors. And when I try to, for example, if you try to import a component using style component inside a component project that it doesn't use, you are gonna have an error, and it's because of Bit. And yeah, people are doing some custom versions of Bit. And to do this presentation, this project here, I have had to mess with the config files here and some other stuff. So maybe that's something really weird here. Okay, so moving on. I can add all the icon files. We have several icons, and I can share for my whole application. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type source components common icons dash, and that's it, I hope. If I do bit status, it's gonna fetch everything. So okay, he identified that I add a new component. I'm gonna bit tag all. I'm gonna put 2.0 because we don't like 1. Oh, it's 2 dashes. So yeah, we created the version. We have bit bit export. Oh. Actually, this is not right. When you export, you have to mention what is the collection that you're gonna export for. So you're gonna type Sousa.components. And yeah. So if I go to my Bit repo right now, I can see that my icons here went exported, and yeah, they are ready to be used everywhere. Hopefully they will load. Yeah. So Google Slides, and I can save this view. So when I come back, I can go to Heart and also save this view. And he's gonna mount me a preview of all the components that can be used. I'm just gonna add another component here that is the Spotahome logo. I'm doing the same step again. Different version, and I'm gonna export. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So exported. I can see it here. Just very quickly, we are creating our UI library, and from that I'm gonna create a new repo just very quickly. Oh, projects, and import inside the other repo. So create React app demo. Yeah. Yeah, and it's ready to use. We have we are gonna have a new project that all these components can be used inside of it, and without no problem. When you isolate components, we don't have to worry about anything from outside of it. It's gonna definitely work, and you don't have the complexity that is have everything on the same packaging and everything working to exist. And yeah, I'm just gonna grab this this component here, go to our new project that is takes some sweet time to download. Yeah. I'm gonna add this guy. I'm gonna go to my main file and import the. So import logo. Oh my gosh. Logo is spot from Bit. Yarn start. And we should see the Spotahome logo inside our new project. Yeah, that's it. So I hope that well, the first part didn't work very well, but I hope that you still want to take our PayPal account to speak a little bit more later. So yeah, we are gonna take a beer, and thank you very much for your attention.